I hate the fact that I'm doing this, but I'm going to go on a supportive rant of Joe Burrow. And the overarching reason why I'm using Joe Burrow for this is to prove, again, that quarterback wins are not a valid stat. So if anyone watched the game last night, the Bengals lost. But it's not like they lost because Joe Burrow played horrible football. They lost because of the defense, as expected. Joe Burrow, had 28 of 50 pass attempts, a lot. 3 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and 356 passing yards. And lost. Joe Burrow currently has 3,000 plus passing yards, 27 passing touchdowns, and only 4 interceptions. And the Bengals are 4-7. Joe Burrow, 300 plus passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions in 3 games this year, and he is 0-3 as the starter. Is Joe Burrow playing objectively bad football? No. He's playing great football, and yet it's not even enough. And yet on his resume and on his all-time record, it will say he's horrible or that he's a loser, because if you just look at the wins, oh, boo-hoo, he lost the game. It's stuff like this that makes me not take quarterback wins or records seriously, because you can play some of the best football of your career, and yet your team around you fails. Evan McPherson missed 2 kicks. The Bengals defense needed to hold on for 1 drive, and they didn't. And yet this loss will be counted against Joe Burrow. And yet you will have quarterbacks play objectively bad football and still manage a win. Example, Russell Wilson against the Ravens on Sunday recorded a QBR of 14.5. One of the lowest QBRs I've ever seen from a quarterback, like a legitimate starting quarterback. And the lowest QBR by far in Week 11. And the Steelers won the game. Russell Wilson playing objectively bad football, and yet still won the game. It's why I will die on the hill. I will never stop believing the fact that quarterback wins are not a real or legitimate stat to use in almost any context whatsoever. If Joe Burrow can play like this and still lose games, if Russell Wilson can play games like this and still win games, quarterback wins and quarterback records should not be a thing. Because it just takes away the legitimacy of some of the quarterbacks that we're watching play the game in terms of boosting up quarterbacks that are playing bad because they have a winning record versus being more disingenuous towards the quarterbacks that are playing objectively great football and still not winning the games. And I can't believe I had to use Joe Burrow for this, but at this point, it's pretty obvious.